My beloved child. There is a reason you found this message today. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Today. Because something has already begun moving behind the scenes of your life, and even though your eyes cannot fully see it yet, your spirit has been sensing it for some time. That feeling you've had lately. That strange mixture of anticipation and uncertainty. That quiet sensation that something is changing even when everything around you appears the same. It was never your imagination. It was preparation. For longer than you realize, heaven has been arranging moments that seemed unrelated. Small conversations. Unexpected delays. Closed doors that frustrated you. Paths that suddenly disappeared. What if I told you that none of those moments were random? What if every detour was quietly guiding you towards something your heart has been praying for, even during seasons when you stopped speaking the prayer aloud? Listen carefully. Because the next part of this message is not something many people are ready to hear. Love is approaching your life. Not the kind that arrives only to leave. Not the kind that creates confusion and disappears into silence. Not the kind that teaches you to doubt your own worth. No. The love that is coming carries a different energy. A different purpose. A different timing. And that timing is connected to a blessing that is growing beside it. You may believe these are two separate gifts. But they are not. The love and the blessing are connected. Like two rivers flowing toward the same destination. One cannot fully arrive without the other. That is why certain things have felt delayed. That is why answers have taken longer than expected. You were never being ignored. You were being aligned. There are moments when heaven protects a gift by withholding it until the proper season. Because receiving something beautiful too early can sometimes create the same pain as receiving it too late. And your season is beginning to shift. Can you feel it? The subtle change in the atmosphere around your life. The way old chapters suddenly feel heavier than before. The way certain people no longer fit where they once belonged. The way your soul has become restless for something more meaningful. These are signs of transition. You are standing at the edge of a doorway. And although you cannot yet see what waits on the other side, the door is already beginning to open. But before love enters, before the blessing fully reveals itself, something important must happen first. There is a truth you have been learning without realizing it. A lesson hidden inside every disappointment. A lesson hidden inside every unanswered question. You have been discovering your own value. Slowly. Quietly. Powerfully. Because the version of you who once accepted less than you deserved is fading. And the version of you who understands your worth is emerging. This transformation matters more than you know. Because what is coming next will require you to recognize it when it arrives. Many people spend years praying for blessings they fail to recognize when they finally appear. They expect one package. But heaven delivers another. They expect noise. But the miracle arrives in silence. Do not make that mistake. Pay attention. The coming days will contain moments that seem ordinary. A conversation. A message. An encounter. A feeling you cannot explain. And hidden within one of those moments will be a clue. A clue connected to both the love and the blessing. When it appears, part of you may be tempted to dismiss it. Do not. Because what looks small at first may carry the power to change an entire chapter of your story. And there is something else. Something that has not yet been revealed. Someone's heart is being prepared at the same time your path is being prepared. You do not know how close this connection truly is. You do not know how many unseen pieces have already fallen into place. But very soon, a revelation will begin unfolding that will make certain past events suddenly make sense. The question is: are you ready to discover why everything had to happen exactly the way it did? Because the answer is closer than you think. And what heaven reveals next may change the way you see your future forever. There is a moment before sunrise when the world seems completely unchanged. The darkness still covers the horizon. The silence remains. The cold air lingers. And yet, the sun is already on its way. That is where you are right now. Many people would look at your circumstances and assume nothing significant is happening. But they would be wrong. Because some of the most powerful transformations begin long before they become visible. And what is unfolding around you now is not a coincidence. It is a convergence. Pieces that have traveled separate paths for months, perhaps even years, are quietly moving toward the same destination. Your destination. I need you to understand something. The blessing approaching your life is not arriving to fill an empty space. It is arriving to reveal a purpose. There is a difference. Many chase love because they believe it will complete them. Many chase blessings because they believe possessions will satisfy them. But the gifts being prepared for you carry a deeper intention. They are not meant to define your worth. They are meant to confirm what heaven already sees within you. Think about the challenges you have survived. The nights when uncertainty felt heavier than hope. The moments when you questioned whether your efforts mattered. The seasons when you felt forgotten. Yet somehow, you continued moving forward. Not because the road was easy, but because something inside you refused to quit. That strength was not accidental. It was being built for this chapter. Because where you are going requires a different version of you than where you have been. And that version is emerging now. Have you noticed it? The way your perspective has changed. The way certain distractions no longer hold the same power. The way your heart has become more selective about who receives your energy. This is not distance. This is discernment. You are beginning to recognize what truly belongs in your life. And that awareness is preparing you for a connection unlike anything you have experienced before. Not perfect. Not without growth. But genuine. The kind of connection that feels peaceful rather than confusing. The kind that adds light instead of creating shadows. The kind that makes you feel seen instead of making you question your value. Yet before that connection appears, there is something hidden that must be understood. A chapter from your past is reaching its final page. Perhaps you have already felt it. The strange feeling that something is ending even when no official ending has occurred. The sense that an old version of your story is losing its grip. This feeling is important. Because endings create space. And space creates opportunity. The universe of possibilities cannot expand when every corner is occupied by what no longer serves your journey. So do not fear what is fading. Do not chase what is trying to leave. Do not rebuild doors that were meant to close. There is wisdom in release. There is power in trust. And there is freedom in allowing heaven to remove what no longer matches your future. Now listen closely. Because a revelation is approaching. Someone has been thinking about you more often than you realize. Not in a passing way. Not in a fleeting moment of curiosity. But with genuine reflection. Your name has crossed their mind unexpectedly. Your presence has lingered in their thoughts. And what makes this remarkable is that they may not fully understand why. Yet, something is drawing their attention. Something is awakening within them. At the same time, a blessing connected to your personal growth is also beginning to move. These two developments appear unrelated. One involves the heart. The other involves your future. But beneath the surface, they are connected by a thread you cannot yet see. And when that thread finally becomes visible, you will understand why certain delays were necessary. You will understand why some prayers seemed unanswered. You will understand why timing mattered more than speed. Because what is coming was never meant to be rushed. It was meant to be right. Still. There is one final piece of the puzzle that has not yet been revealed. A detail so unexpected that if you knew it now, you might struggle to believe it. The signs are already beginning to appear. Small signs. Quiet signs. Easy to miss signs. Most people would overlook them entirely. But not you. Because this message found you for a reason. And in the next chapter, something hidden will begin stepping out of the shadows. A truth about the love approaching you. A truth about the blessing connected to it. And a truth about yourself that may change everything you thought you knew. The moment is closer than it appears. And what happens next may be the very thing your heart has been waiting for all along. Have you ever stood beside a river and noticed how calmly it moves? It never rushes. It never argues with the rocks in its path. It simply continues forward, knowing that eventually every obstacle will surrender to persistence. There is a lesson in that. Because the season ahead of you will not arrive through force. It will arrive through alignment. And right now, alignment is taking place in ways you cannot yet fully understand. Something important is happening beneath the surface of your life. Like roots growing deep beneath the soil before a tree ever breaks through the ground. Nothing appears different from above. Yet everything is changing below. That is why your intuition has been speaking louder lately. That quiet inner voice. That feeling that keeps returning when the world becomes silent. Pay attention to it. Because your spirit often recognizes what your eyes have not yet seen. The blessing approaching you has already begun sending echoes ahead of its arrival. Perhaps you have noticed unusual moments recently. A memory appearing out of nowhere. A meaningful coincidence. A dream that felt more vivid than usual. A feeling that lingered long after a conversation ended. These moments are not random. They are invitations. Little reminders that your story is still unfolding. That the chapter you are entering holds more beauty than the chapter you are leaving. And yet, there is something many people misunderstand when they stand at the threshold of a breakthrough. They expect certainty. They expect complete understanding. They expect every answer before taking the next step. But life rarely works that way. Faith often arrives before clarity. Trust often arrives before proof. And courage often appears before certainty. You are being asked to trust what is unfolding even when you cannot see the entire picture. Not because you are naive. Not because you should ignore wisdom. But because some doors only reveal what is behind them after they are opened. And one of those doors is closer than you think. The love coming toward you is not simply searching for companionship. It is searching for recognition. Recognition of something rare. Something authentic. Something that has survived every challenge designed to diminish it. Your heart. Yes. Your heart has been tested. Disappointed. Misunderstood. Perhaps even exhausted at times. Yet despite everything, it still carries kindness. It still carries hope. It still believes that something beautiful is possible. That is not weakness. That is extraordinary strength. Because anyone can believe when circumstances are perfect. But it takes a special kind of soul to continue believing after experiencing setbacks. And that strength has not gone unnoticed. The connection approaching your life is being drawn toward the very qualities you sometimes overlook within yourself. The compassion you give without recognition. The loyalty you offer without conditions. The resilience you carry without applause. These qualities shine brighter than you realize. And someone is about to notice them in a way that feels different from anything you have experienced before. But wait. There is another layer to this story. Because the blessing attached to this season is not only emotional. It touches your purpose. Your growth. Your future direction. There is an opportunity quietly forming beyond the edge of your current view. You may not recognize it immediately when it appears. In fact, it may arrive disguised as something small. A simple conversation. An unexpected invitation. A chance encounter. A new idea that refuses to leave your mind. Most people underestimate beginnings because beginnings rarely look dramatic. But never judge a seed by its size. The mightiest trees once appeared insignificant. And the opportunity coming toward you carries far more potential than it initially reveals. That is why patience remains important. Not passive waiting. Active preparation. Continue becoming the person capable of receiving what is coming. Continue strengthening your faith. Continue choosing growth over fear. Because the more prepared you become, the more clearly you will recognize the gifts being placed before you. Now here is where the story becomes even more remarkable. Someone connected to your future is currently facing a decision. They may not know your role in their story yet. They may not understand why certain thoughts keep returning to them. But a choice they make soon will create a chain reaction. A sequence of events. A series of moments. And those moments will begin moving your paths closer together. This is why timing has felt so mysterious. Your journey was never unfolding alone. Other journeys had to align as well. Other hearts had to grow. Other lessons had to be learned. Other pieces had to find their place. And now, many of those pieces are finally beginning to connect. But there is one secret still hidden. One revelation that has remained protected until the perfect moment. A truth about why your heart has been guided through every twist and turn of this journey. A truth that will make you realize that what once looked like setbacks were actually preparations. And when that truth is revealed, you may never view your past the same way again. Because the next sign is closer than you imagine. And it will arrive when you least expect it. Imagine standing in front of a magnificent tapestry. From the back side, it appears confusing. Loose threads. Unexpected knots. Colors that seem out of place. Nothing appears to make sense. But then you walk around to the front. And suddenly every thread reveals its purpose. Every color belongs. Every detail contributes to a larger masterpiece. Your life is closer to that moment than you realize. For a long time, you have been looking at pieces of the story without seeing the full picture. You saw the disappointment. But not the protection hidden within it. You saw the delay. But not the preparation taking place behind it. You saw the closed door. But not the greater opportunity waiting beyond it. Soon, perspectives will begin shifting. And when they do, something remarkable will happen. You will stop asking, "Why did that happen to me?" And begin asking, "What was that preparing me for?" That single shift has the power to transform everything. Because your future is not being built from your failures. It is being built from what you learned while overcoming them. There is a difference. Many people carry old disappointments as evidence that they are unlucky. But heaven sees those same experiences as evidence of strength. Proof that you continued moving forward when giving up would have been easier. Proof that your spirit remained alive even when circumstances tried to convince you otherwise. And that strength is attracting something powerful. The love approaching your life is not arriving to rescue you. It is arriving to meet you. To walk beside you. To grow with you. To celebrate what you have become. That is why this connection feels different. It is not being built on need. It is being built on readiness. Both hearts have been learning lessons. Both paths have been evolving. Both stories have been moving toward a point where they can finally intersect. Yet there is something fascinating about this moment. The person connected to this future chapter may appear when you are least focused on finding them. Not because you stopped caring. But because your attention has begun returning to your own growth. And that is exactly where it belongs. There is a magnetic quality to a person who is building their life with purpose. A quiet confidence. A peaceful energy. A sense of direction. You are developing those qualities now. Even on days when you do not recognize it. Even on days when progress feels slow. Growth is still happening. The roots are still deepening. The foundation is still strengthening. And foundations matter. Because the blessing coming toward you is meant to last longer than a fleeting season. Now listen carefully. The next few weeks and months may contain moments that feel strangely meaningful. You may notice conversations that stay in your mind long after they end. You may encounter opportunities that seem small at first but continue pulling your attention. You may feel an unexpected sense of excitement about something you cannot fully explain. Do not ignore these moments. Some of them are signposts. Not final destinations. But indicators that you are moving in the right direction. The heart often recognizes destiny before the mind understands it. And your heart is already beginning to sense what is approaching. But here is the hidden truth few people talk about. The blessing itself is only part of the miracle. The greater miracle is who you are becoming while waiting for it. Because years from now, you may look back and realize that the most valuable gift was not merely what arrived. It was the person you became in the process. The patience you developed. The wisdom you gained. The confidence you discovered. The faith that grew stronger through uncertainty. Nothing has been wasted. Not a single tear. Not a single lesson. Not a single moment of growth. Every experience has been adding something valuable to your story. And now the story is approaching a turning point. A moment where anticipation begins transforming into reality. A moment where hope begins taking shape. A moment where what once felt distant starts moving closer. Much closer. And there is something else. A message. Not necessarily spoken in words. Not necessarily delivered in the way you expect. But a message nonetheless. When it arrives, it will answer a question your heart has carried for a long time. A question you may have asked silently. A question you may have stopped asking altogether. Yet the answer has been making its way toward you. Even now. Even as you hear these words. The path is shortening. The distance is closing. The pieces are aligning. And in the next chapter, a revelation about the blessing, and the person connected to it, will begin emerging from the shadows. What you discover may explain far more than you ever imagined. Because what is approaching is not merely a new experience. It is the beginning of a new season. And that season is closer than ever before.